Spanberger, look, elections have consequences. I mean, she ran on a law enforcement, position that she was a career law enforcement person, whether it was CIA, involved in child trafficking. I saw the commercials. Well, she's a much different person now. She's in that governor's slot.
America, this channel has been covering what's happening in Fairfax County, Virginia for months now. You know the names: Stephanie Minter, Nicio Hernandez Gonzalez, a 3-month-old, a man hacked with a machete at his own front door. We've covered every ignored ICE detainer, the DA dropping charges on a murderer 30+ times, and a 5-year plea deal for 2 people who stabbed a man to death in a park, while the federal government publicly called it absolutely insane. Every week, we ask the same question: when does somebody in Washington look directly at Governor Abigail Spanberger and say, enough? Yesterday, Tom Homan did exactly that by name on Fox News, and Spanberger's response tells you everything you need to know about who she actually is.
That Virginia state agencies would no longer, and principally state police as the largest of the state law enforcement agencies, would no longer put their police officers, their troopers, under the supervision and direction of ICE agents.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Most coverage of this treated Homan's statement as a political attack on Spanberger. What they missed is what's actually hiding inside of it, because he wasn't just criticizing her. He was explaining a specific choice she made and described the exact consequences of making it. Guys, here's how all this works in plain English. Every county jail processes people who've been arrested for local crimes. Some of those people have federal immigration removal orders in the database under the old 287G agreement that Youngkin built, the one that Spanberger killed on day one. When Fairfax County Jail checked someone in and found an ICE detainer, they called ICE. ICE sent an officer. That person went from a booking desk to a federal transportation van, quiet, clean, off the streets. That's what Abigail Spanberger ended. And Tom Homan explained exactly what happens when that option is removed.
ICE is not going to stop enforcing law. If you don't let us in the jail, fine. We'll just send more teams into the streets, into the neighborhoods, because we're going to do the job that President Trump promised, to make this country safer again, especially against illegal aliens that committed other crimes while they're here. These people are in the country illegally. They commit a serious crime, public safety crime, and the local jurisdiction chooses to release them into the community rather than turning them over to ICE. It's ridiculous.
You block quiet jail processing. ICE deploys neighborhood teams. They find that target. Everyone stands next to the target without papers. They get taken in too. Spanberger's policy produces more visible enforcement in Virginia communities, not less here. She created the exact outcome she told voters that she was preventing. Homan pointed out to one state that already made the right choice. He kept calling it the Minnesota chapter.
I wish he'd take a page out of the Minnesota chapter we did when the president sent me to Minneapolis and get more cooperation with the county jails, which means less public safety threats in the communities, which means less enforcement operation in the communities. It just made sense. So I'm hoping that she pays attention how we dealt with Minnesota.
Safer for communities and safer for the people being processed. That's the offer he brought to the table, not deportation raid campaigns. Jail level cooperation, producing the clean arrests before people get back on the streets. They fixed it in Minnesota. He's offering to help Virginia. And Spanberger said no. And Youngkin was watching. He built the framework she dismantled.
She told people that she would work to keep Virginians safe. And then the first thing she did was prohibit collaboration with the federal government, from the state police, from our Department of Corrections, and of course from local law enforcement. We had a tremendous partnership that had arrested thousands and thousands of violent criminals who were here illegally, and she ended it all, and it's made Virginia less safe.
Thousands and thousands. That's a documented track record of violent criminals removed from Virginia communities under the program that she ended, that Abigail Spanberger ended day one. And she's standing at a microphone telling you Virginia is not a sanctuary state. Now, here's how she's defending a policy her own voters never signed up for. When Spanberger says Virginia is not a sanctuary state, she's technically trying to make a narrow legal argument here, and it sounds reasonable until you follow it to the specific thing that she actually ended. She says she only pulled state police out of the supervision and direction of ICE. She says localities can still enter 287G if they choose to. She says joint task forces still function. All of that, chat, is designed to make her sound reasonable. Here's the thing that she's leaving out. Since she removed that requirement, since she made ICE cooperation optional instead of standard, not a single new 287G agreement has been signed by any other Virginia locality. Not one. The moment she says, you don't have to, everybody stopped. Her executive order didn't just change the rule, it changed the culture of the cooperation overnight. And the specific cooperation she eliminated, the Fairfax County Jail calling ICE when somebody with a removal order is in the booking system. That's the one that would have held Abdul Jalal. You remember him before Stephanie Minter died. That's the one that would have removed the men who stabbed Nieso Hernandez Gonzalez before they reached the park. Not a terrorism task force, not an FBI joint operation, a phone call from a jail to ICE. She ended that phone call. It's simple. Then she told you, the public, Virginians, she didn't run a sanctuary state.
The Department of Justice has got lawsuits pending against sanctuary jurisdictions. I think they'll win them in the long run, because I think sanctuary cities are illegal. I said, so, but in the meantime, what we're out there trying to educate these sanctuary cities that, if you let us in the jail, the rest of public safety threat in the jail, that means less of our agents are in the street.
Next time Abigail Spanberger says Virginia is not a sanctuary state, full stop, she may be saying it in front of a federal judge who reads the statute and decides whether her answer is legally accurate. One state got asked the same cooperation question Spanberger refused and gave a different answer. The numbers show what that choice actually produces. When the Trump administration started asking governors to sign on to the 287G, West Virginia said yes immediately. Governor Justice signed a letter of intent. ICE sent teams to 5 cities across the state.
Our top story, a new report issued by ICE says the agency has arrested more than 650 people in West Virginia this month. The report says agents were deployed to Morgantown, Martinsburg, Moorfield, Beckley, and Charleston as part of the operation. However, 12 News has reported agents spreading out from those specified territories, with at least 2 public arrests happening in Harrison County alone. Shortly after taking office last year, Governor Morrisey signed a letter of intent to join President Trump's 287 program. It allows state correctional officers to transport illegal immigrants into federal custody without direct supervision from ICE agents.
1 month, 1 state, 650 arrests, and notice the specific language, without direct supervision from ICE agents. West Virginia's own correctional officers handled transport. The supervision and direction agreement Spanberger used to kill Virginia's agreement, West Virginia built a model that removes that entirely. She has no argument left. West Virginia state officials described Virginia's situation in a specific way that deserves to be reported here. The chaos in sanctuary states, obviously you guys know this, is a choice. They're not calling Virginia a disaster. They're calling it a decision. Voters are reading that. The Washington Post and George Mason University ran a poll, and it came out this week. And the numbers here, you guys, are something Virginia hasn't seen since 1994.
According to the Washington Post, she is 13 points lower than the average of Virginia governors. So clearly this has been on her mind. She had that quip all lined up, but her problems with polling remain.
Yeah, and we're barely into her first term, right? And only term, for that matter, in Virginia, because you can't run into consecutive terms. But, Carly, when looking up the term bait and switch in the dictionary, there is an increasing chance Abigail Spanberger's photo will be next to that definition. I mean, last year, during her race for governor in Virginia, she was hailed as this, great moderate from an adoring media. But since getting into office, it's hard to tell the difference between Spanberger and, the squad. I mean, she's proposing dozens of new tax
taxes. She ran on not redistricting the state, only to redraw the state map to likely give Democrats a 10-to-1 ratio over Republicans in Congress, a state that Kamala Harris won by about 5 points. And in Fairfax County, that's the northern part of the state, 75% of murders there have been carried out by illegals. And then Spanberger just keeps talking about how she'll never, ever work with ICE. So this does not sound like a moderate to Virginia voters at this point. They're already showing buyer's remorse.
Buyer's remorse. What a phrase to use here. He said that in April 2026, less than 90 days after she took office, she won 59% of Virginia's independents in November. Right now, independents are split. 45% approve, 46% disapprove. She's already underwater with the voters who put her over the top. My friends, that's not a slow polling drift. That is a governor who governs as somebody completely different than who she campaigned as, and got caught doing it faster than anybody expected. Duncan put one word on the entire thing.
That's why her poll numbers are the lowest of any governor in modern history. And I'm going to say that again, the lowest of any governor in modern history, because Virginians don't like being lied to.
The polls are political consequences. What's coming in May is legal and congressional consequences here. The House Judiciary Subcommittee on Immigration Integrity scheduled a hearing on May 14, 2026. I said this in the previous video, and those of you that haven't seen it, I'll recap it right here. The name of that hearing obviously isn't diplomatic. It is titled Fairfax County, Virginia, the Dangerous Consequences of Sanctuary Policies.
Leaders in Fairfax County are set to be grilled in front of Congress for the county's policies on illegal immigration. Now, the congressional hearing comes as numerous illegal immigrants are facing charges from murder to assault in the county just in the past 2 months. Commonwealth's Attorney Steve Descano and Fairfax County Sheriff Stacey Kincaid have agreed to testify before the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Immigration Integrity, Security, and Enforcement. Fairfax County, Virginia, the Dangerous Consequences of Sanctuary Policies hearing will take place at 10 a.m. on May 14th.
The same DA who dropped charges on Abdul Jalal over 30 times, gave 2 murderers a 5-year deal, and whose office misrepresented a victim's wishes to court. He sits under oath in front of Congress. Kincaid sits under oath explaining why she refused detainers. That's the accountability moment the families have been waiting for. The cases speak for themselves. The broader enforcement context for all of this: Trump just hit 11 consecutive months with 0 catch and release at the southern border.
And just over 8,000 illegal crossings in March. Well, that's a fraction of what we saw under the Biden administration, when crossings routinely topped 200,000 a month and illegal migrants were released into the U.S.
Angel families gathering at ICE headquarters this week. Parents of children killed by illegal aliens demanding accountability from sanctuary cities. Those families traveled to Washington because the voice office for immigration crime victims was reopened after Biden shut it down. They showed up because they have nowhere else to go. The Minter family asked Spanberger for a phone call. She never made that call.
If everybody hated me, why is everybody putting my face on their mailers for the referendum? Would be question number one. Listen, at this moment, when I was elected, really, frankly, that's the only poll that mattered. My election, 17-point swing.
A 17-point election win is her answer to DHS calling Fairfax County insane. A 17-point election win is her answer to Homan naming her on national television. The Minter family doesn't have a damn 17-point margin. They have a phone that never rang and a governor who called her election win the only thing that matters. America, here's one thing that you won't hear on any other channel. Everything in this story moved this week. Homan named her publicly. Descano and Kincaid are going to Congress under oath. DOJ lawsuits confirmed and coming. Virginia's independents are already underwater on the governor that they just elected. All of it happened in 1 week. And through all of it, Spanberger still hasn't called Cheryl Minter, the mother who said she had her daughter for 41 years. The family we covered that nobody else would. They have been publicly asking for the governor to answer since February, and she has not called. This is the same playbook every other sanctuary governor runs when consequences start arriving. Hold the line publicly, invoke the election that you won, hope that the news cycle moves on before before anybody notices that you never answered a question. Tom Homan said her name. Congress gets Descano and Kincaid on May 14th. The DOJ is filing. The Minter family, they're still waiting by the phone. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.